everyone, and welcome once again to another great episode of Stars of Big Sky Country, the series that shines a spotlight on those at the high school, collegiate, or professional level that have made an impact right here in the 406. I'm your host, as always, the T-Man Richard T-Man, and today we are at the collegiate level, but also shedding some light on high school. We've got the cheer side of things. So if you've got spirit, yes, they do as well. She was with Great Falls High Bison. Now with the MSU Bobcats and a great resume to boot, it is Brooklyn Griffin. Brooklyn, welcome. How you doing?
Good. Hi, nice to be here.
Yes, it is great to have you. I like to kind of get around to all the different, aspects of the sports. And as I always say, stars come in all shapes and sizes. So for you, it's the world of cheer. And a quick glance at your resume. So, like I said, Great Falls High Bison. You cheered at the Shrine Game, great honor for high school athletes. You were with Rise, which during your time there took fifth overall out of 87. And then UCA All-American in high school, Walt Disney World, and now you're with the MSU Bobcats. So did I get everything? Am I missing anything from your star-spangled career?
I think you checked most of the boxes there, so you did it.
Perfect. Okay, so icebreaker question. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and ask you this one that's been quite the source of some debate. Sunsets or sunrises?
I like sunsets, but that's because I don't really like to be awake when the sun rises. So,
So every girl that I ask that when we're interviewing the softball team, the basketball team, all the girls will say sunset specifically because they don't want to have to get up early to catch the sunrise. So
yeah.
I think we can go ahead and safely declare sunsets as the winner strictly because it's been blessed with the time of day that it is. But
Yeah.
that's great to hear. So, really, what we want to know, though, to start off is what is it like to be Brooklyn Griffin?
That's a funny question. Um, I started my athletic career in dance when I was 2. I did dance for quite a few years and decided I wanted to turn kind of to more of a competitive side of dance when I was about 7 or 8. And I did a couple of years of competitive dance. And through those years, I was doing some soccer, basketball, all the things that, kids do. Um, and then I started taking a tumbling class for dancers, and I got pretty good at it pretty fast. And I kind of figured out that maybe that was more of what I wanted to do, and there wasn't really a place for the skill set that I had developed in dance anymore. And so I kind of switched over to cheer, and ever since then, I never stopped. I did 8 seasons of competitive cheerleading. I did 4 years of varsity high school cheerleading, and now I just wrapped up my first year of collegiate cheerleading. So that's been my life. Cheers been everything. So
Well, as you may know, the fan show started doing cheerleader of the game this
hmm
year, thanks to some influence and advice from those that were part of it. But the song I always put with it is the Hey Mickey, which I don't think really has anything to do with cheerleading, other than the fact that it was the end credits scene song for Bring It On, which was like your guys' first movie in that world. So.
hmm
I apologize if that's not the best choice of song, but the little logo image in Instagram for it is a cheerleader. And so it's just like, okay, so there's got to be something to this. But I mean, when you look at a movie like Bring It On, how accurately does that depict competitive cheer, like what you went through?
it doesn't. It's been a couple years since I've watched Bring It On. They ended up making like 4 or 5 movies, so
Oh,
there's
yeah.
quite a few of them out there now. But Bring It On is a lot of like this school and this school go back and forth, and they steal each other's cheers and they steal each other's routines, and that's not really what we do. We do like a lot of practicing our own things. So usually we'll bring in like a choreographer. Well, in the world of All Star Days, we would bring in a choreographer and we'd get our own choreography that matches the skill set of whatever level we were competing at. And then you really just work really hard and hope that you end up on top and check all the boxes. And then basically you have to go out and be the cleanest and like the most perfect that you can be, and that's how you win, as opposed to like stealing other people's stuff and doing it better.
Well, let's go ahead and take it back to the early days. So you said you started dancing at 2, which I think a lot of us do. Dancing of some kind. Just randomly in diapers or whatever, or onesies, walking through the living room or the bedroom or even the kitchen dancing. But then 8 or 9, you start getting into it competitively. How does one get sort of guided to the competitive world of cheer and dance? And I guess what's the difference between cheer and dance?
Oh, well, that's a loaded question. There's
I
a
see.
big difference between cheer and dance. But to answer your first question, I started dancing when I was little because my mom did dance, and I
No.
danced for Miss Linda's, which is also where my mom did dance. So which is kind of funny. And then I kind of had some friends doing more of the competitive side, and there were some older girls in the studio doing the competitive side. It was fun to watch, and they got to travel and they got to compete. And so I kind of decided, oh, that might be something I want to do. It's a little more time, but it's still not terrible because I'm still little. So that was kind of how I moved into that. And then, like I said, I actually had been doing it for 2 or 3 years at that point, and then started doing a tumbling class. And when it comes to All Star Cheer, it's pretty much all or nothing. Like, you don't get to choose that you go to this competition or that competition. You're part of this team, and you can't do it without your team. And so you're just a part of it once you're part of it. And then to answer your second question, dance and cheer are extremely different in their own ways, even at the collegiate level. Um, my experience is that dance is a lot of like technique. When I did dance, I took a ballet class, I took a class, I took a jazz class, I took a hip hop class, I took a contemporary class, and then we practiced our like routines cohesively. And that was it was just different. The competitions are very different. There's a lot of like solos and duos and trios, and there's a small group dance and a large group dance, and you do something all together, but then the junior team does something together. And so, you have 10 costumes and you have to change and you have to do all these things. And then after the competition, you go to a workshop. And so then you're learning from the judges. So then you're learning more dances from the judges. And then cheer is more fast pace, I would say. That you start your season by like drilling the basics of whatever level that you plan to compete at. And then you bring in a choreographer and they'll give you choreography that goes to your level. And then you seriously grind out and rep out those routines until you go to competition. And then you go to competition and you have your whole team with you, and you go backstage and you have to go to warm-ups and do like you go from mat to mat. So like you'll start on like a stretching stunting mat, and then you go to a tumbling mat, then you go to like another stunting mat, and then you go to a full dead mat, which like on the younger levels we would throw full outs on, which just means we do everything. You throw tumbling, stunts, jumps, all the things. And then at the older levels we did stunts and jumps just to stay warm, ready to go. And then you wait backstage with your team, you're doing the little prayer and all the things, and then you go out as a team, you end as a team, you get up, wave at your parents, come off as a team, and then you're done. So it just like it turns from like a lot of small things in dance to like one really big thing in cheer. And so even though like it takes up less time seemingly, um cheer was definitely like for me was there was a lot more to it. So I don't know when it comes to collegiate dance. I don't do collegiate dance, but they work pretty hard here, so
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't do what
imagine
they do.
so.
So
All right, well, so the worlds are in fact different. I always wonder,
they are.
a lot of the teams that I've seen or worked for or covered have had both a cheer and a dance team. And I was like, I don't know what the difference is, except for one performs at halftime and the other is like always mingling with the crowd or whatever. So
Mhm.
I just wanted from your world, from your mouth, what is the difference? And I think that's pretty accurate depiction. So you go from there to high school where now you're going to be Bison Cheer, and you guys,
Mhm.
had the cheer squad. Your mom was the coach, and so, but you're also doing Rise. So how difficult was it to divvy up the time, and what drove you to keep doing both, knowing how valuable time is at the high school level?
It did take up a lot of my time, because I did varsity all 4 years of high school. And then my freshman year of high school, I was actually on two all-star teams, and then the following years I was only on one. Um, but it was like, you know what, like when you're passionate about it, the time doesn't really matter. I knew that this was like pretty much from my freshman year on, I knew I wanted to cheer in college. And I knew that like having the game day high school side of things and then the fast paced tumbling, stunting, all star side of things were both going to come kind of together in college and be really important. So that was really my drive to, be up at 6 in the morning for high school practice and go until 9 o'clock at night for all star practice. So I had some longer days in high school, that's for sure. Um, but really, when you get to college, that doesn't change. Like now I have lift at 7 on Fridays and then practice till 9 on Fridays. So I think it was actually a really, really good setup of learning my time, like how I can spread out my time to do school and do all the things as well as this cheer and that cheer and whatever clubs I was in everything in high school. So um but I think it was actually a really good learning curve too, to like learn to divvy up that time. Um, and yeah, I just think that if you're passionate about enough about something, you're going to do it and you're going to do it well.
No, I love that. I think that's very true. It's similar for me as well. I am me. It's just me and what I do, and I have to find the time and the energy. And I think, yeah, the more that you want to do something, the more you enjoy something, the less you worry about the actual time that you spend doing things. So
Yeah.
that's good to hear. And that's great work ethic as well. So now, high school, senior year rolls around, decision time, D-Day, where are you going? What are you going to do? How did you land on, I'm going to continue cheer at the next level? And then how did MSU come onto the scene?
So cheerleading is a little different than like let's say football. They don't necessarily scope you out and say like, "Oh, you want to come be on our team?" You have to go to this. Well, some of the smaller schools do, but the D1 level, from my knowledge, doesn't at all. So you have to go to the individual tryouts, which you do pay to be a part of, and make the team is the big thing. And so I knew I wanted to go to MSU. I've been a Bobcat since I was a kid, and it was as much as I knew I wanted to cheer, I think I would have came to MSU regardless. So I was just really hoping I made the team. So I sent in my applications at MSU. I did all the things. I didn't even send in applications very many other places. I think Carroll College is the only other place I sent my college application to. And then I started to get to work. I mean, I if you didn't know, I tore my ACL and meniscus in 2022 and had surgery in 2023, and so that was kind of a setback in my high school career working towards college. And I tore it doing a full, which is you're flipping and spinning at the same time. And I had a kind of a hard time coming back mentally from that. It was definitely an interesting experience. Like nobody tells you how going from everything to nothing really, really is. So yeah, that was a big setback in my um like advancement to going to the next level. But I put the time in. I put the work in my junior and senior year to get back. I was eventually working fulls again last spring, even though it was really scary. And now I can, for the most part, throw a full like it's nothing. So I think that commitment to getting better and to wanting this really, really set in for me when I had that injury. And so even though I had that setback, I came back from it and was able to succeed and come to MSU and be exactly where I want to be.
Yeah, and it's a great comeback story. And your signing day was one of the bigger ones I remember. A big deal. You guys, you and Seven, were both signing to go cheer at MSU, and I think it spoke volumes to the there's more than sports kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you had
Yeah.
friends, family, the whole squad was there for you guys. It was a great show of support, and so now you are a Bobcat. So am I, by default. I got my swag here, my Cat Spirit Squad shirt. I told you, I said I want a cat shirt, but it can't just be generic. Like it has to say what you are, Spirit Squad on the shirt. And so you got me this. And then my wife and I made the hard decision because apparently you can't be on the fence when it comes to Cats Grizz like I am with high school. And so we made the choice to be cats, and it's been a great time ever since. You guys won the national championship. I know that you weren't actually part of the cheering, but you did go to Nashville. So now that you're at MSU and you can confidently put an end to the chapter that was your, I guess, rookie year. What was it like? What was the Cats experience your first year like for you?
In some ways, it was exactly what I expected, and in other ways, it was I couldn't have expected it at all. So, like even after, I've been to Cats games growing up since I was like 8. Well, actually, I went to my first game when I was like 1. But
The one I
I,
remember, though.
I've been going to these games for years watching the cheerleaders. Like I always would say like, "Oh, I come for the cheerleaders. I like to watch the medias." I do love football, but um so I started going to these games when I was younger and got to watch and kind of grow up being a Bobcat and knowing what I wanted. And then I made the team and we come in for 2 a days and it was a completely new experience moving to college, moving into a dorm, doing those kinds of things that, nobody can really truly prepare you for.
No.
No, I can't. It's a different experience. Moving into a dorm, being on my own. And then not to mention being with this team of people who I don't really know. I had 7 because we went to high school, preschool, all the things together. But besides that, you have a new team, you have a new coach, you have a new living area. So that was all really, really crazy. And then, eventually you get a roommate that comes in. Super lucky during 2 days to be on my own. And then you got to start sharing the space that you've previously had by yourself. And then really, it was really a really busy season. We had 4 games in a row in September, which is just a lot. Apparently, that doesn't happen very often. And then we practiced pretty hard. We practiced 3 times a week for 3 hours each, so 9 hours a week, and then we lift twice a week. And then on top of football, we cheer for volleyball too. And so those kind of go on simultaneously. And then we also host clinics for our upcoming Bobcats. And so that takes up some time too. And so we were just really, really, really busy all through football. And then basketball came around and it gets a little calmer, but I did cheer most basketball games. So I was pretty busy. But I love it. Like I said, when you're passionate enough about something, the time commitment really doesn't matter. So I am always just happy to be here and cheer whatever I can. So yeah, that's kind of been my rookie season. It's been a lot, but it's been super fun and like I just, as somebody who used to come watch, see now knowing that there's people coming that might be watching me is just kind of surreal.
All right. Well, great to hear and great to see the progress for you and follow this passion and hobby that you've turned into a passion and interest throughout from, being so little. And then I saw obviously your high school career and now you're at college. So just two more serious questions before we get to the fun ones. What does the future hold? Because, with cheer, there's a lot of different avenues. I know as a fan of pro wrestling, there was Stacy Keebler, Alexa Bliss, now Maxine Dupree, who were all professional cheerleaders, Ravens, Suns, and others. And so now they wrestle. And I don't know how you get into wrestling if you're not a
From cheer.
fan of it. Or from cheer, yes, absolutely. But there's clearly, a profession there. There's a professional
Mhm.
level to cheer, and then things that can kind of, come from it. So, what does the future look like for you right now, still early in your college career?
Well, to kind of piggyback off what you were just saying, the athleticism in cheer is just like, sometimes we don't get the credit that we deserve for what we're doing. We flip our bodies, we throw humans, we hold humans. Like that's pretty crazy. But for me, the future of cheer, I know that I sent in my application to be a Bobcat next year to do tryouts. So that's like, the near future. We'll have tryouts in May. And as far as other things go, I added a coaching minor to my degree because I can definitely see myself helping others and being a coach for probably the high school level. Now knowing what I know from the college level, it's just a really different experience and a different way to do things. That now knowing what I know could really set up high schoolers better than maybe I was set up for more of the game day stuff. Um, and then, I mean, cheerleading is definitely adding some more pro stuff to it. We now have the Pro Cheer League. I don't know if you've watched any of it. Have you watched the Pro Cheer League?
Not yet, but I will put it
You
on my
should.
list.
It's actually really cool, and it's a little different than All Star. They have like tumble offs, and they have to like tumble across this line and land in a target, and like you get points for it. And then they have like flash stunting, so they'll get shown a picture, and then they have to go and like put up the stunt as fast as possible. And then they have like basket competitions and stuff like that. And that's new this year, and that's pretty cool. And they're getting paid to do it, just like other pro athletes are. And then obviously there's pro NFL cheer. But a lot of that currently is actually dance. Like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders are dancers, like
Um,
by trade. They are like technically trained dancers, not necessarily cheerleaders. But some of those teams, the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens, have added some like stunt teams. So they've kind of separated cheer and dance a little bit. And so something to look forward to in the future if that's something I choose to pursue and try and be a part of someday. But near future, I know I want to stay at MSU. I know I want to complete my 4 years of school here. And then eventually someday go on to coach. So,
so I guess one thing I need to clarify real quick then is do you have to try out every year, or do you get to a certain point in your career where it's just like, okay, like you've been here like when you're a senior, and you're a captain or
mhm.
whatever, but do you have to try out every year?
Yep, we have to try out every year,
Wow.
which I think is actually a good thing to keep everybody on their toes and to keep everybody like with their
True.
skills.
Yes.
Because if, people come in behind you that are better, then you're either going to get cut or it's going to light a fire under your butt to get moving and get better and not be so complacent just because you made the team.
That's crazy. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good. I love that you appreciate that aspect of it. And of course
Hmm.
you're no stranger to tryouts. I just know for me, it was like when I was doing marching band, my senior year was the first time that they brought back, and I think more than a decade of having drum majors try out every year. So I was the first one in
Oh,
over 10
wow.
years that had to try out twice. And not only did nobody think I would get it the first year, now everybody's like, oh, well, they think they made a mistake picking you. So now this is their
Oh,
excuse to get
no.
you out of there. And so then I got it again, and I was like, you can all just suck it. Like I was, you know. So
That's so funny.
I appreciate it, but I also it's like, non-flashbacks for me having to try out again. So good though. All right,
Yeah.
last one. What about growing up either specifically in Great Falls or Montana as a whole do you think helped form you into what you are and where you are today?
I think, growing up in Great Falls, like it's a really good place to grow up. And like I was lucky enough to grow up around all my family and always have that support on my back. But not only that, the opportunity that a lot of us are given, not only in sports, but in life in Great Falls, is different. I was a part of Leadership High School, my junior year of high school. Which is through the Chamber of Commerce. Like you get to kind of explore everything Great Falls has to offer, which was pretty cool. And I just, the community of Great Falls is just different, and it's so special. The people that that are like family but aren't family, like those kinds of things are super special. And then I think to kind of flip it, growing up in Montana, as somebody who wanted to cheer at the next level and wants to be more of a athlete who's like up there when it comes to being D1 or whatever, you do have to work hard to be recognized, by the mass of people. And you do have to work hard to be good enough to make it to the next level because, we have some stars come out of Great Falls and out of Montana, but a lot of it is kids who play sports in high school and then they go on to college and just do college and then life. So and I feel like we see that a lot. So those of us who do want to make it to the next level, we work really, really, really hard to be recognized and to be those people who are going to make it to the next level and are going to do it.
All right, so now the fun ones. What is the worst habit you've developed in your time?
Oh, in my time at MSU.
Yeah.
Probably, I would say, like, when it comes to class, I would say napping because we do have some early mornings and some late nights, and so sometimes I have to get sleep where I can find it, and I have unfortunately slept through a couple classes before, but I ended up doing fine. So,
That's a rite of passage. There's no fault there.
Yeah.
Me and my roommate, we were terrible about it. We were coming up with anything like, dude, it's the last Thursday of the month. That's a holiday. Let's just hit the snooze and go back to bed. Okay, sounds good. So it's who takes the longest to get ready? There we go. That's
The
a
longest to get ready. We don't necessarily really get ready all together most of the time. I mean, there's a couple people who show up after me time, but so probably them. I don't know. Not me. I'm usually early. I'm not super specific, but yeah.
with the guys on the squad. What's it like having the guy cheerleaders as part of the team, and what are some of the big differences between the girls and the boys?
Our guys they're pretty awesome. They're like such completely boyish boys. Like in the best way possible, but also like, you know, you surely don't forget that they are men. Like they just being on a team that is co-ed is just completely different, and we are like so intermingled. Like obviously they don't dance and they don't like really cheer with us, but they throw us and we have to trust them. um, so I mean, we all have a pretty good connection and it makes for a lot of like good jokes and stuff because it is. And then you also, I mean, being on a team of boys, you really have to grow a backbone. And I was lucky enough, I grew up with a brother, only a brother, and then all my cousins are boys. Like I don't really have family of girls my age at all. And so my backbone had been grown. I was good, but you definitely it's for some people a big adjustment to not be like, that was so mean. You know, you just got to laugh about it sometimes because they're funny. They just sometimes they're boys.
Boys can be funny, or intentionally and not
Hmm.
unintentionally.
Hmm.
What was the oh moment for you where you go from high school cheer to now college cheer, and it's like, okay, this is in fact the next level.
I mean, we did UCA camp, which we did in high school, but then we did the college version of UCA camp. So that was different. You know, we're in high school you can't do three high pyramids, which means like, you know, you have humans holding humans. That's like that's the best way to put it. And so that was like a really really big adjustment for learning. Like, it was a little bit of a learning curve of like, oh, how do I catch somebody and put them on my leg while I'm also standing on top of somebody else? How do I catch them, put them on my shoulders while I'm also standing on top of somebody else? And so that was kind of like a bigger adjustment. And then seeing UCA camp at the high school level versus the college level was interesting. But I would say my biggest like, oh, we're in college now moment was run out. I don't know if you knew, but when the horses run out, we run out after them, and then the football players follow us. And you know, we're trying to keep up with horses and also not get trampled by football players. And then often at the end, we'll tumble. So we'll run 90 yards ish and then tumble. And then we run around, give high fives to everybody, and then get straight into our, like, you know, we're hyping up the crowd, we're ready to go. So that on Gold Rush, when it's like 85 degrees and hot and everybody's there, was like, oh, so we're doing this. So we're running
I love
at
that.
full speed.
I love that you're trying to keep up with horses and not get run over by a football team. It's like the
Yes.
perfect place to be
Hmm.
in that
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
You talked about how hot it was
Yeah.
at Gold Rush. What about those frigid cold games? What are those like?
You know what? On the field, they're not that bad.
Okay.
Like we're down, you know, we're down. We kind of avoid most of the wind. I would say personally, my coldest game, there was one we did in November where it rained.
Ooh,
And so like it was like 38, 40 degrees, something like that, which is like, you know, nothing new in Montana.
yeah.
Um, but like you'll notice even when it's kind of chilly, we'll still have like our bellies, like we have our shirts or our like tops are shorter. Like we'll still have our bellies out, but we'll wear pants because it's really not that cold. But we got to keep our legs warm to be able to tumble. So that's kind of, you know, it's really not as bad as it looks. But yeah, the wet game, once we got wet, it was cold. Like the rain was super fun. It was like, we're all like soaked. And then all of a sudden it was like, ooh, now there's a little bit of wind and now that's blowing and it's freezing my sleeves. So that was for me the coldest game. There was an appearance that I did for the news on the Super Brawl. That was really cold. It was like at 8 in the morning. And that game was like right before Christmas. That was like December 20th
Jeez.
or something. And it was probably 8 degrees outside, and we were standing behind the people talking on the news, just standing there. It was so cold.
Just trying to
So,
smile and then be like,
yeah.
"Yay!"
Well, and our faces are frozen, so we're like,
Yeah. Well, for cheer, and I was just talking to a parent about this last week. You guys are not just at the games; you guys are at like everything. Every
mhm,
function. If it's a pep rally, if it's a game, if it's a pregame, or if it's a parade, or if it's a school function, and there needs to be some kind of school spirit presence, you guys are there. So,
mhm.
with that, when you got to the collegiate level, so that's something I didn't know. What was something that they don't tell you about cheer that you found out the hard way?
Hmm. You know what? I don't think that there's like a ton. When you get to college, for a lot of people, like there's a lot of people that cheers life, and then there's some that cheers something to do. Um, and that just is like that was kind of surprising because I knew like at the high school level, like sure, like for some of us we're doing it because we want to go to college. For other people, it's because it's fun. You get to wear a uniform. And at All Star we did it because we wanted to win, and because for most everybody there, cheer was life. Like we spent all of our time in the gym. We were at practice an hour early just to hang out, so that by the time we got to practice, we weren't so rowdy. Um, and so yeah, coming to college, and there's some people 3 4 years in who there's some who are cheer is life, and there's other who's like, oh, it's just something to do, it's fun, it's you get to wear the Bobcat uniform, get to say you're a college cheerleader. So that was a little surprising. I love all my teammates. It just that like difference in coming in as a rookie, and like everything's new and everything is sunshine and rainbows, and to somebody who's had a little bit of tenure and is like, well, like we're getting to the end, we're doing our thing, we're just, sticking with it. So that was a little surprising for me. But like I said, love all my teammates, and they everybody does a great job, and everybody is very committed. So to what we do. But yeah, that's if that makes any sense at all.
It
But
does. Yeah, it does. You were prepared for it, so I get it
yeah.
totally. What or who do you miss most about high school cheer?
Oh, well, my mom was my coach in high school, so a little bittersweet. Then, I miss cheering with my friend, like my friends from like ever, on the sidelines, and then cheering for the Bison. Like my boyfriend was a football player, and um like all my friends were the football players. Like I knew everybody on the team, and then I got to stand by my best friends of 5 6 years and cheer with them. So I do miss that. I miss cheering with Peyton, and obviously I still get to cheer with Seven. And there's so many names I could name right now. I miss my younger girls, I miss a lot of them, but cheering on the football players when you like know them personally, you walk the halls with them, is really special, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a bond that you guys form at the high school level,
Mhm.
especially around here, as I'm starting to notice. But you guys, there, you are the professional sports, cat's
Mhm.
grizz. So what's it like knowing that your stage is a bit bigger because of that simple fact? Like, is it something that is solely in your mind, or do you feel that, like, on game day?
We ironically just had a meeting with somebody in athletics who actually talked about this exact thing. And that like, the Brawl of the Wild is always crazy. The initial one, and then to this year have the Super Brawl or the Brawl 2.0 or whatever you want to call it. Come back to Bozeman, and it be this thing where like people on the news are picking Cat Grizz, like who's gonna win. The Grizz were undefeated and we weren't, and all the things. And we come into our stadium, and I'm not sure if you've been to a game, but it gets loud and kind of crazy. Like it's our fans are very very passionate to be Bobcats. So that's kind of that. And then like you said, people people travel kind of far and wide to come watch the Bobcats because it's what's here. Like, there's almost not a game that our stadium isn't packed. There's not very many basketball games that, the stands aren't packed even on a Monday night. Like, there's people who love watching the Bobcats, and like that's no lie. And I feel like that was super shown by Nashville. We're, I don't know what, 18 hours away from Nashville if you wanted to drive. 2,000 miles, something like that. Super, like, we're far.
Yeah.
And the plane tickets were so expensive, but we still had, gosh, I would say, well, we had one whole side of the stadium was just Bobcats, and then the other side of the stadium was like Bobcat, Bobcat, and then the Redbirds in the middle.
So like
So
four
they
to
were like,
one.
yeah, and, they're from Illinois, so they're not even that far. I think they were only, like, a six-hour drive, and we had so many fans there, even being as far away as we were. So I think that is super, super shown, like, in that realm of, like, how passionate people are, just as passionate to be Bobcats as they are to be Broncos or Seahawks or whatever, because it's what we have, and it's like, we are the stars of Montana. We are the people who show up on billboards. We are the people who are on like food campaigns and whatever. So I think that's like it's a super cool and super niche thing for Montana, I think.
Excellent. Well, what's the must go to food spot when you go back home to Great Falls?
Ooh, to Great Falls. I
Yeah.
love Best Walk.
Oh, yeah.
That's like,
Oh.
my comfort food. It's not the nicest restaurant in the world, but every time I walk in, they're like, "You're back." I'm like, "I am." They know me. They
When
know me. They love
everybody
me.
knows your name.
I don't
Well,
think they know my name, but they know who I am.
they know
They
who
get
you are.
excited when I come back,
Same thing.
and I'm excited too when I go in there. So,
For Bozeman, for MSU campus, what's the hot spot? Where do the college kids go all the time? Like, where do you meet up? Just when you don't even have to say, "Hey, we're gonna meet up here."
um, I mean, on we do have a Chick-fil-A on campus. I
Oh,
feel like that's kind of our food hotspot. And then like just kind of another meeting place that we tend to all kind of circle up in is we have a athletic academic center,
oh,
which is
nice.
meant for doing homework, but you know oftentimes, you'll go in there, you'll see your teammates in there, and you'll be like, "Hey," and then you can't stop talking to them and get anything done. And we recently all went in there and watched our girls play in the Starch Madness game, like, and it was all sports combined. Like, there's a couple cheerleaders sitting there, there's a couple football players, there's volleyball players, like everybody was sitting there watching the same TV. So that's pretty awesome. It's a good place to meet people. If other people aren't looking to get their work done, but no, it's a really great resource as well as kind of a good, like, you're gonna walk in there and you're probably gonna see someone like, I was trying to make a video for Bubbler, and I opened one and it exploded everywhere, and then I realized I wasn't recording, and so I opened that one. And so then I had to open another one to finish my video. And I was like, you know what? I'll just walk to the AC. Surely somebody's got to be in there. Oh, Shirley. Yep. Gave it away right away. So it was like, that's kind of like how that rolls. Like, you're like, oh, there's got to be somebody in there.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with some hard ones now because as somebody who covers sports, I will occasionally be like, "Oh yeah, I like their logo. I like their uniform. This is a good uniform
Hmm.
matchup," But the athletes themselves, I don't think are particularly focused on that. You guys, as girls on the cheer squad, I know, I just know it. You can't deny it. So,
Hmm.
not counting yourselves, okay? Who
Huh.
has the best uniform? Like, whose uniforms are you jealous of? Any college or in the Frontier Conference, or I'm sorry, in the Big
Big
Sky,
Sky.
in the Big
Yeah.
Sky.
I mean, I really like Bama's uniforms, but I think it's because I like red, but they have some cute ones. Um, Gosh. I like Washington State's uniforms, again, red. I think that kind of is like it, like, off the top of my head for other schools. Like, I do like theirs. We don't see a whole lot of other cheer teams come in. We got to see Yale, but it was cold. We saw Eastern Washington's. That's where you went to school, right?
Yep, yep, two
Yeah,
years.
theirs were cute too. Also red. Um, I don't know. Apparently, I have a thing for red uniforms. I do like blue uniforms too, though. So those are probably my two favorite, like. A red uniform's a good uniform, and a blue uniform's a good uniform. And beyond that, not my fave. I don't really love black uniforms.
Okay, so that leads me to the
So,
other one. Whose uniform at any level for you in cheer or dance were you like, I wouldn't be caught dead in that one?
can I say the Rustlers?
Oh, there it is. The high school rivalry never ends. Now, is that really how you feel, or are you just picking on your rival one last time while you have a chance to?
I mean, I can't say green's my favorite color. They they use a lot of yellow.
They do,
No
yes.
hate, love you guys, but I just don't love your color combo, especially compared to our hues of blue. Can't go. I loved our high school uniforms. Some of them would probably say they wouldn't be caught dead in our uniforms. So you know
Yeah.
what? That's okay. I'd be okay with that. Um, but you just can't go wrong with the blues. Like seriously,
Yeah. Yeah.
our color combos from high school were so good, so good. So
And I wanted to ask because you guys have this color in your school with the cat. So as a fan of the 49ers, there's red and gold. And of course, people will
mhm,
say that like the Green Bay Packers are green and gold. It's not. It's green and like cheddar cheese yellow. And then that
yeah,
the Rustlers are green and gold. No, that's green and yellow also.
yellow. Yes,
For me, I can't do gold uniforms because you lose that what makes it gold, that shine.
yes.
Like you just
See,
can't
I
capture
agree.
that. And
Yeah.
so it looks then just tan. So
Yes.
when with you guys and having gold accents and stuff, like when it's
Mhm.
sequin or whatever and it really pops, is that the only way to do it for your guys' uniforms?
I mean, I say yes. Like we have a white and a blue one that are the pretty much exact same, except for one's white and one's blue. And our gold on it comes like the straps and then like the bottom and then the bobcat. And then at the very bottom of the skirt, there's like a rim and it's like shiny gold. Like it's like a
Yes.
true gold color. We have another uniform that uses kind of more of a yellow, butter yellow. But it's just small, like small accents. It's our M uniform, so it's blue and white mostly. And then there's an M in the middle, and the M is kind of that yellow tannish color, which isn't my favorite, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And then the skirt has like on the bottom, like a very small like stripe of that color. So it's really, really like small. But I actually really like all of our uniforms. Um the obviously the white and the blue being kind of the same is actually pretty nice because they fit the same. And then the other one has a different style of a skirt and a different style of a top and way different material, but it's still cute. So
Okay. I'm glad we agree on that, and I'm glad somebody else understands what I mean by that
no,
because it's hard to communicate.
that's probably why I wouldn't want to wear the wrestlers uniforms.
Yeah.
If they went mostly green with some gold accents, I could probably do it. But
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Define Montana tough. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
oh, Montana tough. To me, that's like, kind of what I was talking about earlier. You come from this small town and you kind of rise like above it, like you rise above this small town, like the drama and the people, and you only have so many coaches and whatever, and you have to personally choose to want to be better and to be up at that level. And I think like, those of us who want to be and who have gotten there, we are Montana tough. And I mean, like, our football team has shown, like, that's Montana tough. That is like Montana kids, because they do say that Brawl of the Wild is the most Montana, like the most in-state kids playing the most in-state kids, and us from good old Montana coming all the way to Nashville playing teams from across the country and like winning a national championship and going to a national championship a couple times in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Like, there's only 1 year in the last couple years that we didn't go, and I think the Grizz went that year. So, like, to me, like, that's Montana tough. It's not staying in this small mindset of like, oh, it's because 'cause we're from a small town. It's because we didn't grow up with a lot of competition. It's because we didn't, XYZ. No, it's we are Montana. We are the people who represent Montana, and we're going to represent it really well. And so to me, that's definitely what being Montana tough is.
All right. Two more. This one, a special one for you. being born into being a Bobcat, basically, and then going
Hmm.
to games so young, and then now cheering for them. Like, what is that like for you? What does it mean to be now part of the MSU and Bobcat family?
Oh my gosh. That is like one of my favorite questions to answer because like it runs so deep, like, in my veins, my mom was a Bobcat, my dad went to a Montana State College, my uncle was a Bobcat, my brother came to MSU before I did, and just being, in a place that a lot of my family has graduated from, and also, like, it's a big thing to go to your family's alma mater, like, that's a thing, and so getting to now represent the school that my family has gone through for years and years and years and be the person who did make it down on the field and who does get to go and represent the Bobcats is just huge. I could find pictures of every single year of me and my mom and my brother on Cat Grizz standing in our living room in our Cats t-shirts, like from like birth to now, like every year there's a picture. And so like it does run so deep in our family that like we love the Bobcats, and that goes into we went to the games and we would come support and we would do everything that we could. And my brother got to go to Texas before we went to Nashville and stuff. So that was pretty awesome for him. And then at Media Day this year, they let us take a picture together, let him come in his band uniform. So that was pretty cool. And so yeah, it just like it's hard to put into words actually like how much it does mean to me to have made this team and like be here going to school here, be here being a cheerleader and getting to be an athlete and do all the things. It's just it means a lot.
That's great. Well, I know that you've enjoyed your time there, and so now the way that we end these is to get a little bit of advice or wisdom or something to pay it forward for the next generation or to those watching, straight from the mouth of Brooklyn Griffin.
My best advice that I can give you is that to find comfort in the uncomfortable. It's hard, but you got to do it. You need to work hard, like regardless of any trials, tribulations, all the things. And then to like your mental health matters.
Yes.
It does as an athlete. Like I said, through injuries, through whatever. Some people don't tell you that like mental health in an athletic setting is hard, and especially getting to college because you're now around a lot of like people with a lot of like skills. And so your mental health matters, and don't let that get away from you. So yeah, find comfort in the uncomfortable, keep working hard, and your mental health matters.
I love that. I think that's probably one of the best ones. I used to say, and still do, take advantage of your disadvantage, whatever that may be, turn it into a
Hmm.
strength. So I think the comfort and uncomfortable definitely sums it up. Well, she is an ambassador for Bubbler, and she is found on the MSU sidelines, rain, shine, snow, blizzard, frigid temperatures, and then, of course, the warm comforts of the field house and the courts during basketball season. But Brooklyn, it's been so great to catch up with you. I've missed seeing you, but you're doing so well, so thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I loved this. This was super fun.
Yes, it is great. And so we only have a few episodes left in season two of Stars of Big Sky Country, so we'll announce who those special guests will be. But don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on the YouTube and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. So until next time, for Brooklyn Griffin, I am Richard Tiemann. You can catch us among the stars of Big Sky Country. We'll see you next time.